I like where your head's at.
48.
I like where
I
your
know
head's
you're
at.
going to be liking this football season. This has been a long time for the Bears.
It has been forever since we had a quarterback. Especially one that's low behind.
Yeah.
And then you throw in all the drinking Mountain Dew.
Yeah. They kept telling me before this season the Bears were going to be good. And I was like, really?
They told me where is this going? But then you picked up the real back, and I was like, Brooks knew that I was flying up there. Yeah, he said, I'll tell you before the meeting. I think so.
Okay, you're really in line. The weird part is that they don't have the driver's license or
I can't get it.
the quarterback is most of my team. That makes a big difference.
It was, it is, that was worth my soul. What's funny is
Hi, Mayor.
so I would take it under certain circumstances.
Jason's gonna go.
He was like, no, you don't want to take private notice.
That was the problem. I didn't get a 24-hour notice, which is my rule.
But what happened if you don't? The Mayor's like, hey,
He still goes on.
My contract specifically reads.
Third, how are you?
For what? You're not eating. I'm always.
well, the train stopped down there and it's traffic. You can't get across. Finally, there's an emergency vehicle clear this sector. Following it. The other direction. Across. But it freed it up where those guys went the other way.
Yeah, I don't venture off.
Yeah. That's good stuff. You got that proclamation. Yeah.
Yeah, he's telling me. No, I'm just not.
I think there's a problem. Got two people signed up for item 18. It's like, well, it's all good. Would you call the roll, please?
Danielle McKenzie.
Here.
Jason Blair.
Here.
Melissa Hunt.
Here.
Louis Williams.
Here.
Adam Webb.
Here.
Mark Ham.
Here.
Glenn Lewis.
Here. Would you please stand and join me for the flag salute? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have a proclamation to read off here. It says, whereas in the United States is recognized as a global leader in aerospace safety, efficiency, and innovation, the aerospace industry is dependent upon a skilled workforce to maintain this exemplary level of quality. And whereas local leaders in government and in the community recognize the importance of the aerospace industry to the economic prosperity, national security, and the citizen safety of the United States. And whereas women have been involved in aviation since 1906, and it is agreed that the path to increasing participation is through a collaborative effort by the government, industry, and dedicated organizations and individuals designed to inspire girls to pursue aerospace-based goals. And now, therefore, I, Glenn Lewis, Mayor of the City of Moore, do hereby proclaim October the 13th, 2018, as Girls in Aviation Day in the City of Moore, and urge all citizens of Moore, civic and fraternal groups, education associations, news media, and other community organizations to join in this salute to support and participate in Girls in Aviation Day event being held nationwide by Women in Aviation International chapters promoting girls in aviation in Aerosmith. and it's approved and signed this day, October 13th. Anyway, this goes to John L. Walls. Are you here? Okay. They didn't tell me who I was presenting it to.
We just really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, the sticker was on there. Thanks. The consent docket is item number 2. Item A is approve the minutes of the regular city council meeting held September 17, 2018. Item B, approve a contract with Aging Services to provide home-delivered meals to homebound senior adults in Moore using Community Development Block Grant Entitlement CDBG-E funds. So item C is approve a contract with Moore Youth and Family Services for a community-based program to provide a youth counseling program to residents of Moore using CDBG-E funds. Item D, approve a contract with Moore Youth and Family Services for a school-based program to provide an early intervention for secondary students in Moore schools using CDBG-E funds. Item E, approve a contract with Metropolitan Fair Housing Council to provide fair housing services to residents of Moore using CDBG-E funds. Item F, approve a contract with Bethesda to provide counseling services for sexually abused children in Moore using CDBG-E funds. Item G, approve a contract with Central Oklahoma Community Action Agency for rental and/or utility assistance for Moore residents using CDBG-E funds. Item H, adopt resolution number 910-18, approving the September 2018 Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Internal Audit Report. And item I is approve and ratify claims and expenditures for FY 2018-2019 in the amount of $2,869,274.02. Do we have a motion? Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. It's a consent docket. Would you call for the vote, please?
Danielle McKenzie?
Yes.
Jason Blair?
Yes.
Melissa Hunt?
Yes.
Louis Williams?
Yes.
Adam Webb?
Yes.
Mark Ham?
Yes.
Glenn Lewis?
Yes, item carries. Item number 3 is consider approval of a lot split in the southwest quarter of Section 36, Township 10 North, Range 3 West, being north of Indian Hills Road and east of Eastern Avenue. Application by Annette Gunter.
Mayor and Council, this property is located on the southern boundary of the city limits at 4700 Southeastern. This application follows a rezoning application that was approved by council on September 4th. The property is now zoned A2, which is suburban agricultural. The lot contains existing outbuildings and an existing residential structure, all of which, except for one outbuilding, will be contained in the newly created southern lot. There's no public water or sewer available, so private septic systems and water wells will be utilized. Utility easement along the north and east property line, as well as right-of-way along the road frontages, is being required. If approved, each lot will be approximately 2.5 acres. As this is in conformance with the zoning regulations for A2 and surrounding development, staff recommends approval contingent upon the grant of easement and right-of-way. If you have any questions, I can answer them for you.
Make a motion, we approve.
Second.
All right, thank you both. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on this item? If not, would you call for the vote, please?
Jason Blair?
Yes.
Melissa Hunt?
Yes.
Louis Williams?
Yes.
Adam Webb?
Yes.
Mark Ham?
Yes.
Danielle McKenzie?
Yes.
Glenn Lewis?
Yes, item carries. Item number 4 is consider approval of an amendment to the agreement with the Center for Economic Development Law for legal counseling services for the Southwest 17th Street and Janeway redevelopment project.
Excuse me, Mayor and Council, this current agreement provides legal representation for the city regarding the Southwest 17th and Janeway redevelopment project funded by the CDBG DR funds. The cost of services have not increased. However, the amount of services needed to successfully negotiate our agreement with the developer has exceeded the original amount anticipated. Financial models have been reworked, resulting in additional review work and redrafting of the agreement documents. In addition, HUD has requested additional analyses be completed before negotiations are final. questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Do we know yet how much more we're gonna
It'll
need?
be, it was 30,000 and they're requesting to go up to 49,500.
Do we know why?
For the, the developer has changed their financial models, so they've had to prepare paperwork several different times to match the different financial situations. So it's just more paperwork than they had anticipated at the beginning.
It's on the developer, not the attorneys.
Right, right.
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Are these coming out of HUD funds?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
Any
no.
other
No,
discussion?
no, sorry. Those are actually coming out of general fund.
General funds?
Yes.
Oh, these are?
Yes.
Okay. Would you call for the vote, please?
Melissa Hunt,
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Adam Webb,
Yes.
Mark Ham,
No.
Danielle McKenzie,
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
and Glenn Lewis.
No. Item carries. Item number 5 is consider amending the Community Development Block Grant CDBG Policies and Procedures Manual by adding Appendix E, Multifamily Development and Operations.
Okay. Mayor and council, as you know, the city is approaching the final negotiations with the developer for the 17th and Janeway redevelopment. Appendix E, Multifamily Development and Operations of the CDBG Policies and Procedures, provides guidance to employees of the city as well as the developer, owner, and property manager. This guidance includes requirements and procedures for the construction of the development as well as the operations. This appendix will supplement the existing CDBG Policy and Procedure Manual. These policies and procedures are guidelines and minimum requirements for the developer to adopt in creating their own procedures specific to this operation.
What does that mean?
Basically, it's just we have to have a policy and procedure for each project that we fund with the DR fund. So this is a brand new project, housing project that we have not done yet.
You haven't
So
had multifamily before, correct?
right, so this is just a new appendix to,
This sets the guidelines for
For
whether they
multifamily.
can accept or reject,
Right.
what the policies are that guide all
right. This is
that.
just kind of outlining what we're responsible for, what they're going to be responsible
Okay.
for, how we're going to do it, how they're going to do it.
Make a motion to approve?
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on this item? If not, would you call for the vote, please?
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Adam Webb.
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Danielle McKenzie.
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Melissa Hunt,
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Item number 6 is consider acceptance of a quote from Callahan Steel Buildings in the amount of $21,024 for construction of a metal storage building to be located at the Moore Police Department.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The police department is in need of an outside evidence building for the storage of bicycles, gas engines, and other related objects that are not safe to be stored in our police department evidence room. We currently have a shed that is located off-site that is difficult to monitor for theft and vandalism, things of that nature. The purchase of this building would also allow us to have a secure building is on site at the police department. It's behind our fenced-in area there. 4 written quotes were requested from metro area companies, and two of those companies returned quotes. The lowest and best quote was received from Callahan Steel Buildings in the amount of $21,204. The building would be purchased with existing state seizure funds. The department would recommend approval of this quote from Callahan Steel Buildings. If you have any questions?
size is the
Happy to
building?
answer. I think it's not real big, and it's just an outdoor steel building. I'm not sure that I have that. Let me look at it real quick.
Yeah, I looked through the documentation, I didn't
Yes,
see
it is 15 by 24 by 9 foot walls. So
it.
15
Say
by,
it again, I'm sorry.
15 by 24 by 9 foot walls.
Okay.
So
Okay.
About 2,250 square feet.
15 to 24,
Make a motion to approve?
Thank you. Second. Thank you. find it ironic that we have problems with people who actually want to break into the police building.
Yeah,
It just seems
Well,
so weird.
yeah, it'll be a little harder because it will be at,
Yeah.
the other one's off-site, so it's kind of hard to,
But still,
yeah.
any other discussion on this item? If not, would you call for the vote, please?
Adam Webb.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes.
Danielle McKenzie.
Yes.
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Melissa Hunt.
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Item number 7 is consider ordinance number 89218, amending Part 8, Health and Nuisances, adding Chapter 12, Medical Marijuana, Sections 8-1201, Definitions 8-1202, General Requirements, Section 8-1203, Medical Marijuana Dispensary, item number 8-1204, Commercial Medical Marijuana Growing Facility, 8-1205, Commercial Medical Marijuana Processing Facility, 8-1206, Medical Marijuana Wholesale and Storage and/or Storage Facilities, Sections 8-1207, Medical Marijuana Growing for Personal Use and providing for severability and declaring an emergency. And, okay. Yeah, we have several people, so I'm just going to screen. Go ahead.
Mayor and Council, this ordinance that you have here before you tonight is a brand-new section to the code. Of course, with the passage of 788, State Question 788, it became our responsibility as a city to comply with the limited requirements that we could determine from 788. We have looked at the various licensing that is available, growers, processors, storage, and dispensaries, and we have made some decisions as to what zoning application each one of those different types of activities would best fall under, and we have placed those requirements in this ordinance, and we did attach an emergency provision onto this ordinance, being for the health of the citizens in obtaining their prescribed medical marijuana, and have placed in there the restriction on the dispensaries, which under the state proposition, the state law, is 1,000 feet from a learning institution, being a public or private school. And that's all contained in this ordinance. There is the separate provision, of course, requiring the emergency provision to be considered separately. And then that third item would adjust our fee schedule to the amounts that we have proposed in that fee schedule. Those amounts, we don't have a lot to go off of. We're at this point, we are, I think, ahead of a lot of municipalities here within the state in getting this before you. So we looked at some of the other cities that were out there. We're a little bit lower than some, we're a little bit higher than some. And we pretty much used an indication from our beer and alcohol and wine permits as the starting point to set these fees. Any
There's
questions?
4 cities getting sued over zoning ordinances now.
Right.
Are we gonna jump out and get in that? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, but a lot of
We-
those cities have banned it from their
We are
cities,
not.
and we have not.
We are not, I don't think, because we took State Question 788, and in 788, there is actually the one restriction that was passed on dispensaries. Our ordinance that we have here tracks that one restriction on dispensaries. 788 was silent as to the other types of activities associated with medical marijuana, and we have placed the growers and processors in either the agricultural type setting for growing or an industrial type setting for the processing. The processing is one of the more, or the higher intensity type of activity with certain chemicals that they will use or have to use in order to process the raw marijuana into a usable form of medical marijuana.
Randy, I just have a couple of questions, and as I was reading through the ordinance, it does indicate that this would be prohibited at our city parks, and I guess other city-owned property from smoking or vaping.
The 788 and rules that were promulgated through the Oklahoma Municipal Marijuana, or the Medical Marijuana Association, tied the smoking and use of marijuana to the tobacco ordinances. So in those provisions, the state has decided that if it would be illegal to smoke marijuana or smoke tobacco or use tobacco, it would also be illegal to use marijuana in a smokable form in those settings, parks, restaurants, things of that nature.
Okay, and also, as reading through it, talked about some of the dispensaries and that if it has to have an air filtration system to, I guess, filter any air that's put out into the atmosphere that maybe have the marijuana.
Offensive,
or
yes.
offensive. And then, as I was reading, it talked about residential and, it needs to be behind a fence or cover, some sort of covering. And then it can't be a nuisance to the neighbors. So what if, and I know we could what if stuff all the time, and maybe we'll learn as this is enacted. But if somebody's in their backyard with their medical marijuana and the odor is lingering over to the next door neighbor's yard, would that be considered an offense, an offensive odor, something that the police could come, or does it need to be consumed inside of their home?
Under this ordinance, under 788, it would not need to be consumed within the home. If a neighbor smells marijuana being used next door, they can still report that to the police department. The police department will make a decision as to whether or not to go over. If that homeowner or the person living there at that point produces a medical marijuana card, there's not anything they can do about it.
And so the ordinance that you're presenting to us is the one that you feel is most abides by what the state statute that is going to be enacted, and we'll be in compliance with that. And
I do. We had many or several meetings with myself, the police department, fire department, the code enforcement, community development, and spent hours trying to come up with something that will regulate the licensing of this, but is also, fair and follows the intent of 788 that was passed.
okay, thank you. we anticipating any increase in code enforcement to deal with this?
Possibly. Once code enforcement determines, though, that the personal growing is being done in compliance with the ordinance, then once again, they will say, okay, you're in compliance.
So we'll keep track of that somehow so that they'll know that somebody at this residence has a license, and will go out one time and then not go back, or will go back multiple times, or?
I doubt they will go back multiple times. There may be, depending upon their record keeping.
Sure.
We're not developing a list of locations.
Sure.
It will be like other code enforcement violations that are usually generated on a complaint basis. And once they determine that the building is okay and it's closed and it's, set up to where people can't come along and reach over the fence and grab the person's medical marijuana, then they will either say, well, we've been out there at that location, and they have a license, a license which allows them to not only possess and use, but to grow 6 mature plants and have 6 seedlings.
Okay.
On the license cost, this afternoon, I think Brooke sent just a summary of other cities and what they're charging for the license. And I don't see that we're charging a personal license for personal growing. Are we just asking that they have a state license? And then
Yes,
they won't have
once they have their prescription card or their medical marijuana card, that automatically entitles them to have 6 mature and 6 seedlings at their residence, or leasing if their landlord says it's okay. So there would not be any type of enforcement or checking on, or going in to do searches to make sure that they have those cards.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
We've got 3 people signed up here on this item. So, are you finished?
If there are no more questions, I think.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I think I'm finished. We've got 1, 2, and 3 items that are there, but otherwise, unless there's any other questions, I think I'm done.
Thank you.
Thanks. Ramona Wolf.
He called Ramona.
He called.
But just going by these.
This is new to me, sorry.
If you would state your name and address for the record, please.
Ramona Wolf, 5101 Montrose Court, Norman, Oklahoma.
Okay.
Am I speaking loud enough?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I actually thought Ron was going to go before me, but that's okay. I'm really here to support Ron and Karen Walker, as well as Travis Martin, in their endeavor to do exactly what he was speaking of, to provide a dispensary for medical cannabis in this community. And so I'm here as a friend. I'm also an employee at More Vintage Charm. And I've gotten to know Ron and Karen over the past few years. And the thing that I know to be true about both of them is that they believe in this community. They are here for this community in every aspect of what it means to support shopping local, wellness, giving back, charity. I see it every day, and I'm honored to be their friends. On a personal level, in my lifetime, I've had, like probably everyone here, a lot of people in my life have suffered from cancer or a variety of illnesses that are debilitating and life-changing. And I'm a retired school teacher. I used to have students, little kids, come in that would be prescribed meds that would help them with their ADD or ADHD, at the same time with the new meds, they were walking zombies. The light in their eyes was gone. And now I have fellow teachers that come into More Vintage Charm and buy CBD oil instead of those meds. And the kids have the light back in their life. Their behavior has changed. Every day I see that. We have customers that come in More Vintage Charm every day with a variety of illnesses from cancer to Lou Gehrig's disease. And CBD oil changes lives. And I'm learning about medical cannabis every day through these lovely people. And I know that they have a genuine commitment to provide that service to this community, to build upon what they've been living their whole lives, which is giving back and wellness. And I'm honored to be a part of it, even though I'm not a Moore resident. I spend the most of my time here. My daughter lives here. And I also believe Moore has something unique to bring to the state. I see you pull together through the difficult times of the tornado, multiple tornadoes. I see you lift each other up, and I think this is a great opportunity for you to do that again with Ron and Karen. Couldn't find better stewards.
Thank you very much.
And Travis.
Ron Walker?
I have a question. Before we continue, can I ask something? Mostly maybe to the mayor and the rest of the council. Are you guys, or even all you, are you concerned about the restrictions that we're putting in place, the ordinances? Since 788 is already passed, currently Moore has no ordinances. So if there's a specific ordinance you'd like to address, that might be helpful if you think something is too restrictive.
I'll probably address it.
Okay, that'd be perfect. Okay,
Yeah,
thank
it's
you.
a combination, probably some of that, yes.
Okay, perfect.
My name is Ron Walker. Address is 100 South Windermere Court, Moore. We have, of course, a business, as Ramona mentioned, and we're selling CBD oil, which is a part of the marijuana plant. Article number 7 that we're talking about, they mentioned they're putting all the processors into one basket. I don't know if you realize it or not, but when you process some of these things, you can actually use water and ice. You don't have to have it in a very hazardous area to produce what becomes of that. There are some of the procedures that do have to have harsher chemicals, and yes, there needs to be some regulation on that. There needs to be some oversight on that, for sure. So that was the main thing I wanted to get my point across was when you start making these regulations and these things for everything to follow, let's do our homework on what we're making regulations for. If it is something hazardous, then yes, let's do some auditing and watch what's going on. So that's all I have to say about that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Travis?
Yes, sir.
If you would state your name and address for the record.
Yes, sir. I'm Travis Martin. I live at 2891 Twin Acres Drive in Norman, Oklahoma. And I'm actually Ron and Karen's brother-in-law by marriage. That's how I met them. And give you a little background, I'm a Moore resident. My parents still live in the house I graduated at 817 Southeast 13th Street, just down the road. So my dad lives in Blanchard, Green, just down the road. I graduated high school when I was 17, went directly to the Marine Corps. I'm a patriot. I got out of the Marine Corps, 5 years, decorated service. I ended up going to Oklahoma University. I'm a local boy, right? I got hired on at the Dell facility as an engineer. From this and that, I ended up going through various roles in the computer tech industry. And along the way, I got diagnosed with ADHD. And I realized that some of the medication I was taking to help me sleep at night for the Marine Corps issues and opiates and all of for pain and all the ADHD drugs, they were all replaced by something that couldn't kill me. And so I got involved in this. The backstory is to set up. I got involved in this in 2011. I got my first medical marijuana grower's license, producer processor license in California in 2011. I actually brought it with me. From there, 5 years ago, my wife and I moved to Washington State, and we got our producer processor license in Washington State, both for the medical and then eventually for the recreational side. So I've been in this industry for a while. I agree with honestly, I miss the reason that I miss them not. I'm upset they took the testing requirements out. They should have left the testing requirements in for the medicine. It needs to be all tested. My concerns are like in the Broken Arrow case that you mentioned, Mr. Lewis, just, happened on Friday, they just, lost their lawsuit, Broken Arrow did, because they were trying to put zoning ordinances on top of 788. There are ordinances in 788 that tell us we have to be more than 1,000 square feet from a school, and that we have to meet OSHA standards for any processing requirements for chemicals, just like any of the oil and gas companies around the area have to meet also. Same standards, OSHA standards, nothing extraordinary. And then permitting. The permitting, as long as the permits are fair, and like they would be for any other pharmaceutical and or liquor control or any other business in the city, and as long as the board understands that we're able to open our doors on October 26th, we're looking at a very short runway here. We actually can't apply for a state license and submit our $2,500 to the state until we know that our location is approved from the city, right? So again, we're on a short runway here. If we get a site approved in Moore, and then you zone us out essentially of that site, we can't move our site with the OMMA. They require us to resubmit with a whole new application, whole new site. We lose our $2,500 filing fee. We're trying to hire more local residents for staff right now. We're trying to inject the local economy with lots of cash flow. We want to hire off-duty police officers for security at the front door, right? We want to make sure everyone's ID and medical marijuana card is checked at the door. There'll be no question as to who comes in our shop, whether they have a medical marijuana ID or not, whether they can be in that shop or not, right? The zoning is going to make it very difficult for that, as well as if the permits are exorbitant, it will make it very difficult for that. So I love it. I'm so excited to get this opportunity, and we've shifted our vision and focus to treatment instead of incarceration as a nation and as a society. And so I hope you guys make the right decision on these zoning ordinances and let us participate.
Specifically, what are you concerned with in our ordinance?
We looked everywhere we could find. We couldn't find anywhere the ordinances were published for public view. So I don't even know what they are. I do know that the Broken Arrow case was specific about they lost because the judge, he said specifically, they weren't allowed to put any zoning on top. So any zoning ordinances, honestly, I mean.
I actually think Brooks might be able to talk better about this. We had a conversation today, and our zoning ordinances and our ordinances are not more restrictive than the state.
Okay.
There are some additional details as far as getting the licensing, which we talked about, and the personal growing license you wouldn't have to get, but everything else is about $1,200, which would be based off of our alcohol and beverage license. But I think Brooks could probably talk a little bit more about this, because I do think that it's very fair, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. No, it's based off the intent of State Question 788, right. And so we weren't going to be more restrictive because, like Broken Arrow found out, that was not the direction to go, and we certainly didn't want to go down that road. And I'm sorry that you were unable to find the ordinance before the meeting. Hopefully it doesn't come up again. But please call City Hall, because I can direct you to where it is on our website.
No, and in addition to that, though, the ordinances that we were discussing, like I was at the OMMA on Thursday and met with them, and I specifically asked about, in the same facility, can we have a medical dispensary showing the patients the plant and selling the patients the plant all the way through mother, all the way through, let's call it, knee-high to a grasshopper, right? All the way through waist-high plants. We can sell it in our dispensary, and at that point, can we lease a space in our dispensary to a farm to show the patients the next phase of the plant, show them what the flowering cycle of the plant looks like, maybe in a closed room, right, with a glass door where they can't get into that room, but just so they can see what the flowering looks like, and then that space would be owned and operated by a farm that we lease to. And these zoning would not allow us to do that, and the board said that was fine. The OMMA said they had no problem with us doing all 3 licenses in the same facility, same location. And this would not allow, this zoning would, if the zoning is what I think, I haven't read them all, but if the zoning is what I think it is, would the zoning allow, I guess that's a question for you guys, would the zoning allow for the growth, production, and processing in the same facility as it sits now?
Yes, right? Because it's all A1, A2, and industrial for all of them, correct?
Yeah, but a commercial facility would not be a 1A2 or any of the
It wouldn't meet, it would be either retail or it would be industrial. It would be either retail or being commercial. It wouldn't be all 3, right? So that's the problem with the zoning. That's right. That's where you fall into. That's where you fall out of line with the states. And I asked that directly to the OMMA, and the lady came down and she was specific. I know her name, Kayla. She was really sweet. Kayla specifically told me that they have no regulations against doing all 3 licenses in the same location. So that's one.
One person,
yes.
well, the group that we haven't heard from yet is the DEA. And it's still illegal in federal law.
But that's not what the voters of Oklahoma said. And if anyone on the council wants to take that with the 70% of Oklahomans that voted this way, they feel free to do that, sir, but I don't think that's the way the voters feel.
Yeah, we're zoning something, you have to understand. We just spent $2 million something thousand in HUD funds.
Yes, sir.
That come from the federal government that might cut us off if we approve zoning for illegal dope.
I completely understand that. And the fact that you just called it illegal dope kind of says your opinion on the matter itself. And you're not treating it like medicine for myself and for a cancer survivor like Ron Walker in the back, right?
Recreational marijuana is dope.
This is not recreational marijuana we're talking about,
I'm
sir.
sorry?
You're talking about adding on zoning ordinances to the 78 bill that was passed by the people.
Right.
Is anyone objection to that? I mean, is that?
I'm a strong supporter of medical marijuana. I was
Yes, ma'am.
diagnosed with seizures at 32 years old, so I completely understand where you're coming from and completely side with you. So
Wouldn't it be nice to be able to show someone the whole life cycle of the plant?
I don't think anyone's, I don't know that I would find that helpful. If that's the only issue that we have, I definitely want to make sure that we're in line with state standards and we're not more strict than that. That's my number one concern right now, would be.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, and I don't think there's anything that's in our ordinance that doesn't comply with what the 788 drafted. You're presenting us with a situation that is very unique and was not explained in 788 at all.
Right.
That's understandable, yes,
And
sir.
so our initial implementation of the ordinances, I believe, are well within line of 788. While we may have to modify these as we go forward to fit all the different kinds of situations, I don't think you can do what you're wanting to do today with these ordinances, and I don't think we're out of line with the state.
Now, I asked the OMMA directly that question. I was told something different directly from a lady named Kayla. She's the supervisor of the control board at the OMMA. I have her information if you guys want to talk to her. But she told me we could do all three licenses in the same facility. And
This is a brand new thing.
Yes,
So
sir, absolutely.
I'm sure they've learned a lot since 788 passed. We're going to have to learn some as we move forward with this also. So you may have to work with us for a while
We will.
before you can implement your full plan.
We absolutely will.
But because the way it's written right now, you can't do all three basically.
What are the permits right now required? What the fees for the permits?
$1,200.
1,200. But that was another thing that Broken Arrow got sued for, was the fees were exorbitant above and beyond other business.
These fall within line of
They
our
are.
alcohol, and so
That's all I need to know. That's
Yeah.
perfect. Those are more the reason. Yeah. And if the board's flexible with us, again, we all live here. We want to give back to the community. We're looking at donating direct funds directly back to the Moore Public School System to help teachers fund for their classrooms. I mean, we want this to be successful in our community. So help us work with you guys.
and this is, we're trying to walk on top of a
Yeah.
real fine line here.
Yes, sir, I
Because
understand.
we have government funding that we're very dependent on also, as well as trying to facilitate this state question that was answered very affirmatively.
Yeah.
And just trying to figure out how do we walk that line.
What's our timeline for permits if we apply tomorrow? If you guys decide on the zoning requirements, we meet all the zoning requirements, apply tomorrow, what's the expectation of approval?
Any ideas?
I think Ryan Miller could probably explain that.
I mean, Moore's pretty,
Yeah, that was easy. All right, never mind. I appreciate the.
Can we?
Yes, yeah, no worries. We'll work on Rossi. Yes, thank you, I appreciate it.
Can we move forward with what
Yes, sir,
we
I'm
have
sorry.
and have
Appreciate it, thank you.
If you could give me Kayla's information after the meeting, I'd be happy to follow up with her to report back to the council.
Yes, I will. Yes, sir. I got her email and her phone number directly. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Adam, sure.
Thanks. So that's all right. That's what I was going to ask, is if we can go ahead and pass this, and then if we need to make any modifications, if we will revisit it next meeting after when you find out.
Yeah, it has the provisions for review or severability, whichever you want to do. It also has on here for declaring emergency, so they don't have to wait the 30 days. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion, we approve.
All right.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on this item? If not, would you call for the vote, please?
Mark Ham,
No.
Danielle McKenzie,
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Melissa Hunt,
Yes.
Louis Williams,
Yes.
Adam Webb,
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes. Item carries. Item number 8 is consider approval of emergency provision for ordinance number 892-18, it being immediately necessary for the preservation of peace, health, safety, and public good of the city of Moore and the inhabitants thereof, that the provisions of this ordinance be put into full force and effect, and emergency is hereby declared to exist by reason whereof this ordinance shall take effective and be in full force and effect from and after the date provided herein as provided by law. Do we have a motion?
Mayor, just one thing, we'll need 5 out of 7 to
Right.
pass the emergency.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
All right, thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the emergency. Would you call for the vote on that, please?
Danielle McKenzie?
Yes.
Jason Blair?
Yes.
Melissa Hunt?
Yes.
Louis Williams?
Yes.
Adam Webb?
Yes.
Mark Ham?
No.
Glenn Lewis?
Yes, item carries. Item number 9, consider resolution number 909-18, adopting the schedule of fees and charges by implementing annual non-refundable fees for medical marijuana dispensary license, commercial medical marijuana growing license, commercial medical marijuana processing license, and commercial medical marijuana wholesale-storage license.
Make a motion, we approve.
All right, thank you.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. You guys are still signed up. Do you want to speak again?
No.
Okay. Would you call for the vote, please?
Jason Blair?
Yes.
Melissa Hunt?
Yes.
Louis Williams?
Yes.
Adam Webb?
Yes.
Mark Ham?
No.
Danielle McKenzie?
Yes.
Glenn Lewis?
Yes, item carries. Item number 10 is consider approval of a new assistant fire marshal position in the fire marshal's office of the fire department to be placed in range 932 of the firefighter pay matrix.
Mayor and council, you were previously sent a memo on the justification of this position. Just to reiterate, based on changes to the building codes that council has adopted, it's required additional duties for the fire marshal and fire marshal's office, and which has taken more time and has added to the workload. And due to this, there's a backlog. Chief Byrd has requested in the last couple of budget cycles an additional position in this office. So based on the budget availability, I appreciate the approval of this position, and assuming that the budget can sustain it, would like to fill it.
Okay,
Motion to approve.
thank you.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any other comments, questions? If not, would you call for the vote, please?
Melissa Hunt?
Yes.
Louis Williams?
Yes.
Adam Webb?
Yes.
Mark Ham?
Yes.
Danielle McKenzie?
Yes.
Jason Blair?
Yes.
Glenn Lewis?
Yes. Thank you. Item, let's see, at this time, we'll recess the city council meeting and convene the Moore Public Works Authority meeting. Item number 11 is the consent docket. Item A, receive and approve the minutes of the regular Moore Public Works Authority meeting held September 17, 2018. Item B, approve and ratify claims and expenditures for FY 2018-2019 in the amount of $1,377,197.88.
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. It's a consent docket. Would you call for the vote, please?
Louis Williams?
Yes.
Adam Webb?
Yes.
Mark Ham?
Yes.
Danielle McKenzie?
Yes.
Hear you.
Jason Blair?
Yes.
Melissa Hunt?
Yes.
Glenn Lewis?
Yes, item carries. This time we'll recess the Moore Public Works Authority meeting and convene the Moore Risk Management meeting. Item number 12 is the consent docket. Item A, accept the minutes of the regular Moore Risk Management meeting held September 17, 2018. Item B, approve payment of a workers' compensation settlement in the amount of $14,696.50 for CBR claim number 20500000610 to Linda Stewart and authorize placement on the Advil Rome tax rolls. Item C, approve and ratify claims and expenditures for FY 2018-2019 in the amount of $256,866.67. This is a consent item as well.
Make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Thank you both. Would you call for the vote, please?
Adam Webb?
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Danielle McKenzie,
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Melissa Hunt.
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes. Item carries. At this time, we'll recess the Moore Risk Management meeting and reconvene the city council meeting. Item number 13 is citizens forum for items not on the agenda. There's no one else signed up. Anyone like to speak? Okay. Item B is items from the city council or trustees. Nobody? Okay. Item C is items from the city manager or trust manager.
Nothing at this time.
Wow, that was a record.
Well, actually, I would just remind everybody.
Too late. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, what happened?
Go ahead.
That October, we'll be having a red ribbon parade. That this will be the 30th year of the parade, and this year's theme is "Life is Your Journey, Travel Drug Free." So please come out and be a part of it. It should be one of our biggest and best.
Okay, thank you. Item 14 is executive session. Title 307, Title 25, or excuse me, Section 307, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes permits the public body to meet in executive session for certain specified reasons under certain specified conditions. It is the opinion of the city attorney that the city council may consider and adopt a motion to meet in executive session to discuss the following items. Item A, discuss, consider, and if deemed appropriate, take action to join pending litigation against opioid manufacturers, distributors, and other potential defendants that are responsible for the opioid epidemic, and authorization for legal counsel and staff to take actions as necessary and appropriate in the interest of the city of Moore as authorized by 25 Oklahoma statutes 307B-4.
Make motion we convene to executive session.
All right, thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Would you call for the vote, please?
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Danielle McKenzie.
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Melissa Hunt.
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Adam Webb.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes. We are adjourned to executive session. Thank you for coming.
I always just leave mine sitting on the floor and I'm just like,
And it's still in there.
Would you call the roll back, please, from executive session?
Danielle McKenzie. Here. Jason Blair.
Here.
Melissa Hunt.
here.
Louis Williams.
Here.
Adam Webb.
Here.
Mark Ham.
Here.
Glenn Lewis.
Here. Okay. Item A was to discuss, consider, and if deemed appropriate, take action to join pending litigation against opioid manufacturers, distributors, and other potential defendants that are responsible for the opioid epidemic, and authorization for legal counsel and staff to take actions as necessary and appropriate in the interest of the city of Moore, as authorized by 25 Oklahoma statutes 307B-4. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to proceed as directed.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, do I have a second? Would you call for the vote?
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Melissa Hunt.
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Adam Webb.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes.
Danielle McKenzie.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
No. Next item is adjournment.
So moved. Second.
Call for the vote, please.
Melissa Hunt.
Yes.
Louis Williams.
Yes.
Adam Webb.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes.
Danielle McKenzie.
Yes.
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, we're adjourned. Thank you for coming.